Happy Tuesday evening to everybody. This is Aaron, 49ers First Takes, 49er minded Bashar. We are here talking, unfortunately, the fallout from Sunday's game and what that means. And me and Bashar are going to kind of commiserate together on what is wrong with the 49ers. We'll hit on some topics that I don't think a lot of 49er fans are talking about. And then kind of look ahead to the future. Because the way things are looking, if we lose in Buffalo, that's pretty much all we'll be looking forward to. So we're going to get into that and much more. So before we do that, though, I just want to say what's up to anybody who's in the audience. We got Amin the Dream, Tej Beats, Nathan Brooks, Banks, sorry, and of course Bashar saying hello to everybody. So without further ado, Bashar, man, you've had a couple days to kind of process what happened on Sunday. I don't know about you, but I kind of was in a little bit of a relaxed state of mind on Sunday. I've kind of almost resigned the fact that the 49ers are having a tough season and that things are going to go the way they're going to go. How are you feeling about the same thing?
I'm currently feeling okay today, but I'll get into what my thoughts were before the game and during the game and currently. But really quick, you said the word commiserate. For anybody that doesn't know what that means, I never heard the word before. I dropped a nugget in the chat for you guys. So thank you, Aaron, for that type of verbiage that required a thesaurus. But yeah, so I never heard that word before, dude. I was like, what's Aaron saying, dude? I was like, what are you saying, man? Commiserate? What's the next word? But going to the game, the moment they announced Purdy wasn't going to play a few days beforehand, I was like, okay, L, chalk it up. You must be the biggest homer on planet Earth if you or anybody else expected otherwise. There's no way in hell we were going to win on the road in Green Bay with Purdy not playing. And I didn't see and that considered, like, what did I expect from Brandon Allen? Typical backup quarterback play is what I was expecting. Josh Dobbs is a bit more exciting. I don't know why he wasn't out there. I don't know why he wasn't playing. I don't know why. After the game, I mean, I didn't hear the details, but something about a broken finger. I didn't. Was it on his throwing hand? I mean,
it was on his non-throwing hand.
Oh, non-throwing hand. Okay, there you go.
It was his ring finger. So like the broadcast. The broadcast was zoomed in on it, and then a lot of us people that were watching the game.
I had a lot of family over. Yeah.
A lot of us did a collective, like, you got to be kidding me, really?
I had a lot of family over, so there was very little of the broadcast that I pay attention to. I'm here and there, but yeah, I missed a lot of nuggets during the game. But it didn't matter. I knew it was going to be a stupid game anyways. Anybody with half a pulse would have known that. So who cares if he had a broken finger at this point? He was on his non-throwing hand, and he was, we needed Purdy out there to win. So even if he had the most perfect hands on planet Earth, he still would have lost. So it's like an irrelevant argument. But people I know were up in arms and they're complaining about it and screaming and breaking all the windows in their house over it, from what I was hearing. So not me. I didn't lose my shit over. I didn't care. But yeah, I mean, anybody who expected a victory, you're a fucking dumb fuck, dude. I mean, we're going out there without Brock Purdy. I mean, what's more to say, dude? And I didn't know what I didn't expect, and you guys were touching on this Monday. Everybody's touched on this. I didn't expect the D-line to look like a bunch of bowling pins out there.
Yeah.
And Fred Warner looked really, really bad too, and nobody looked good. Not one person on that team looked good stopping the run. Maybe the safeties could have done a lot better. Had the people in front of them did better, but I mean, it was break tackle city, So
19 missed tackles.
Yeah, missed it, and just like getting run over or trucked or whatever, whatever you want to call it. Josh Jacobs was really, really owning this team. It was really embarrassing. Ever since I've been watching this team has hung their hat on stopping the run. It's been like even the worst years for this team, I've seen them stop the run, minus that stupid Chip Kelly year where they they were like third worst NFL all time of rushing defense, which was pathetic. But yeah, I mean, what could we have expected going into this game? I mean, really, really, really. I mean, sure, better production from guys like Debo. You could touch on that whenever you want, and CMC is just not CMC right now. Let's be real. I'm sure once he becomes CMC, he'll be badass and he'll be dope. But is he going to get the blocking up front? I didn't see many holes for him to run in. It's not like CMC had spectacular blocking and he's just running, at 1 mile per hour. It's not like that at all. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of things that, were left to be desired that were left on the field. And, again, my expectations were super low and everybody else's expectations should have been the same.
Man, I'll tell you, 49er land right now is in a state of mass confusion, mass panic, nuclear meltdown. Depending on who you talk to, the sky's falling, the run is over, we're going to reboot, we're going to, gut everybody. Brock's going to take all the money, we're not going to be any good anymore. It was nice being good. It was just there's a lot of that going on right now, and I'm kind of trying to figure out personally like how I feel about it all. Because part of me kind of feels similar to some of those people who think like, you know, maybe this is the end of this particular run and that, maybe things are going to get only worse. And then there's a part of me that thinks that like, okay, the Philadelphia Eagles in 2024, the 2023-24 season last year, had a down year. They made coaching changes. They got players that had once produced who had a down year come back and start producing. And then they also added through the draft. So I'm kind of leaning towards more of that line of thinking when I think that maybe this is nothing more than just a team that is tired, a team that is, they're a little old, they're a little long in the tooth. But like I had Al on yesterday, 49ers Plus podcast. He's not of the sky is falling, it's over, everything is horrible and it's never going to get any better type of mindset. He's a little bit more positive. He thinks that some changes can be made roster wise after the season, get rid of guys that are a little long in the tooth, move on from certain players that are not productive. For instance, Deebo Samuel, me and you talked about it. You watch Deebo Samuel and he looks like a guy that is a beat up former shell of what he used to be, just based on the type of way that he plays, the type of style of football that he has played over the last couple of years. He has now gotten paid and he just doesn't look like the same explosive player. That could be a number of things. There was the whole talk of him, whether he's a captain or he should be a captain. I think he should have gotten his captain thing stripped only because, you call out your punter and your kicker telling them to lock in. And then when you're trying to be held accountable for a poor performance, and really it's been a poor performance all year by Deebo, you're nowhere to be found and you don't want to talk to the media. So like I said, what side of the fence do you stand on? Are you on the sky is falling? It's never going to be any good. Done. We're going to get rid of everybody.
Well, people were saying that we were done after 2020, right?
Yeah.
People made that whole schmo. I mean, so they definitely have opportunities to be good again. And the good reason why we're not doing as good this year is because of health. You got to be healthy. I don't care how many good players you have. I don't care how good your roster is. I don't care how good your coach is. If key players aren't healthy, then you're not going to win. I don't give a fuck if dumb fucks from other players from other teams or dumb fucks from other fan bases act like, oh, we were hurt. So you get like, dude, your injuries are fucking like 1% of the bullshit fucking injuries we have, you fucking retard. So don't fucking act like those injuries don't fucking matter. And our injuries are on our fucking top fucking players. So you're a fucking retard that doesn't know shit about football. So fuck off. I mean, what the injuries fucking matter, dude. It's a big fucking deal. That's why those guys, I mean, how much money are we spending on certain players that aren't even on the damn fucking field, dude? Millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, and you're going to tell me that doesn't matter? It matters. It fucking matters. Otherwise, we would have never paid those players that kind of money. Never.
When so $90 million of your payroll is not playing on Sunday, for you to say that, every other team goes through it and it doesn't affect them as garbage. It's total garbage. Now, does that mean we would have won the game still? I don't know. The Niners, like I said, they look tired. They look old, talk after the season. We talked about it in the off season and running up to the beginning of the season that I told you on a live stream that I felt that this team was off. I felt something was off. And a lot of people who actually kind of try to be somewhat positive and are not always all about the sky is falling have kind of said the same thing, that they just had a weird feeling going into this season just based on how Super Bowl ended. They were that close once again. It's hard to run it back every single year. And it's almost like the Niners just don't have within them the particular fortitude or the guts to make another giant long run. And they look like a team that is uninspired. They look like a team that's tired. And to be honest with you, if they lose in Buffalo, which they probably will, Bashar, are you okay looking forward to next season and starting to get yourself ready for the 2025 season and kind of just look at the 49ers as a team that is going to have a massive reset and get healthy and have some rest and come back more inspired next year?
Yeah. Isn't it going to be a big time snowstorm up your way over and close to Buffalo, man, on Sunday? That's what I'm seeing by the weather reports, which is not good. I totally wanted to see Brock go head to head against Josh Allen and kick ass and see our team, the real team that we're supposed to have out there, beat Josh Allen. That'd be a lot of fun to watch. But I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things wrong with this team currently. The big thing that we're saying something was off is not having Dre Greenlaw for this. Dre Greenlaw getting hurt in the Super Bowl killed our dreams last year and this year, both.
Yep,
that killed both. And Ayuk pouting in the locker room the day after the Super Bowl like a little fucking baby, which he shouldn't have been doing. That affected us into this season because he was fucking acting like he was the owner of the 49ers when he was on the practice field. And that didn't want to wear his shorts or whatever, something retarded like that. And when he finally gets on the field, drops every fucking pass that's right to him, and then finally catches the pass and he's out when we need him the most, So waste of like $50 fucking million for that fucking debacle. So yeah, so those things will have a big effect on your team. But the Greenlaw, especially on the side of the defense, that has a major effect on your team. Just the attitude that he brings. Warner's a really, really good player, but he doesn't have the same attitude that Greenlaw does. Even Warner at his best doesn't. So yeah, I mean, it's like Greenlaw's supposed to be coming back, where I was really hyped up about that, really excited about that. Oh, this guy can change things for this team, but I expected us to be in a much better position. The ironic thing is we're all saying that we're done, and I kept saying if we lose this game, we're gonna be out of the playoffs, blah blah blah. But I had no idea that we were only one game back out of the playoffs until like the next day or something. No. One game back from winning the division, that is. I didn't realize our division was that freaking bad. So, hey, maybe we could sneak in the playoffs. Now, are we really going to do something? I don't know. Probably not. But we still have Brock Purdy as our quarterback. I love everything about Brock Purdy at the same time, even though he's not like been perfect this year, but he's had his moments. But yeah, I mean, there's a question. I mean, if CMC continues to not show that he's the real deal, back to his real self, maybe they might just hang it up for the rest of the season. Maybe Greenlaw plays one game and hangs it up for the rest of the season. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm sure I'd love to get a higher draft pick. I'd love to draft for more offensive line. I really think offensive line should be the ultimate. People talk about defensive line. Okay, defensive line. We've done great with defensive line over the years. Losing Hargrave was gigantic. Nobody's talking about it. I know he's not the big run stopper, but still, he's the D lineman that we're paying all this damn money for. And we lost Armstead. And I know Armstead isn't what he used to be, but some people thought we should have kept him.
You're talking about the defensive line. You've brought up the defensive line. I don't know how to share things on here, but this is a good.
Give me the link in the chat. I'll do it.
It's my replies.
Your replies on what? On Instagram?
On X.
Twitter? Oh, okay. It won't show on mine because I'm not logged in on Twitter on this browser. It's really easy. So what you do is hit present, and then hit share screen. And from there, it will give you the option to which browser you want, right, which browser tab, and go from there.
Let's see if it's here.
And I can't see what I'm doing now. Okay.
I got it.
Okay, cool. All right, here we go.
I want to.
You got to kick us off. Kick the thing off.
Let's get this overlay off here.
There you go. And you can make it full screen too if you hit the final tab at the end. You can kick us off the thing if you want to make it bigger.
Oh, hold on a sec. Kick the thing at the end. What are you talking about?
At the last window at the end that won't have our faces.
Aha.
There you go. Oop. Oh, wait. Maybe this one. Oh, there you go. All right.
Maybe not. I'm trying to find it.
Let's go back to the other one.
Go back to the other one.
Where are you? There you go.
So I don't know if you guys can see it on here because it's really far away.
They see it. What you can do is zoom in on the text too. You can zoom in on the browser, and it will show it so everybody else sees it.
Let's see if I can zoom in on here. There
you go. I'm pretty sure they can read it because I can read it online.
It said the 49ers' top 6 defensive linemen from the playoff game versus the Packers weren't on the field. So we're talking about guys that are backups, players at best. So Fred is not getting the protection of a middle linebacker. Ray Lewis's career got rejuvenated when the Ravens drafted Haloti Ngata, and all of a sudden Ray Lewis, he got the protection. He was able to run free and was able to get protected. And this is coming from on the morning roast with Brian Baldinger. So I mean, if you want to talk about something being one of the biggest reasons why we're struggling, just based on that, top 6 defensive linemen that we had in the Super Bowl. So the starting defensive line in the Super Bowl from last year was Nick Bosa, was Eric Armstead, Javon Hargrave, and of course the ex Washington commander. His name is escaping me right now. You know who I'm talking about. Bashar.
Chase Young,
yeah. That was your top.
That was such a.
And we also had Randy. We also had Randy Gregory.
Randy Gregory, and he retired. And we were talking about trying to bring him back because he was available early in the season. And he just said, "I'm going to retire." I was like, "Okay, whatever." And Chase Young, which is a major disappointment. He did okay in the Super Bowl. Actually, did terrible in the Detroit Lions game, and just overall was a disappointment during the season. Right? I mean, he was.
Yeah.
You and I were all.
It was the game against the Jaguars. He looked like $1 million. Thought the 49ers had got one of those big steals like they usually do in the middle of the season.
They said it was going to be a race at the quarterback for him and Bosa, and that was not the case.
Yeah, so I mean, you look at that. It's tough, man. Like you want to give credit to other teams when they beat us. To me, you're expected, if you're a really good team, to beat a team that's beat up. So the Packers went in and did exactly what they were supposed to do against us. I didn't think the Niners had a shot in hell to win that game either, especially with Brandon Allen at quarterback. Like I said, you go and you zoom into the broadcast on that game. I know you were busy with family and stuff, and all of a sudden you look and he's got a freaking splint on his left ring finger, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is going to be an extremely long day. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
But he didn't turn over the ball or fumble the ball though. That's the only major concern, like on the non-throwing hand, is if you can't take snaps properly, then you're just fumbling the ball all over the place.
Well, he did. He fumbled. He got hit and fumbled.
How late in the game? Or there were certain glimpses of the game that I missed.
Yeah, he got hit.
He
got hit from behind and fumbled. There was another time where he lost the ball. And then of course you have the 2 interceptions as well that he threw. It was just an abysmal showing by the 49ers.
Well, one of them was a drop from Debo, though.
Yeah, it was right to Debo, right through his hands.
What did the other one look like? I forgot what the other one looked like. The other
interception? Man,
it says only one interception right here on the stat line.
Did he throw only one? Okay, so it must have been another fumble.
Yeah, so but that was right to Debo. It's like Debo. I mean, it was a little higher than. Okay, look, it was a catch that every pro receiver in the NFL should make, because it wasn't like right to him, but it was just like stretch out a little bit and you get it. But with Debo, if it's not right to him, it's not a catch. That's how it works with Debo.
Yeah, Debo has no range as far as trying to go out and catch the ball from away from his body. Man, Sentinel, you were on it tonight. He said, all these bums. Well, okay, hold on. He says, all these bums love money. He said, guaranteed money is ruining the NFL. They don't love the game like players of the past. No, they don't. Shannon Sharp made such a great point about the state of modern sports. And T.O. checking Debo in hindsight is hilarious. Ain't it, though? Yeah, he checked him. He said he worries more about his... Debo pretty much told T.O., like whatever, dude. But T.O. pretty much told him that he thinks he cares more about his pregame look and his style than playing good in the game. And it's funny that Jerry Rice had an issue in the pregame against the Chiefs where he said 49er players weren't locked in. They were dancing, acting a fool. And he said the Chiefs players were like locked in and they knew business was time to take care of. That's the one thing about this 49er team. I don't know if Kyle doesn't run an extremely tight ship, but you got a lot of players feeling themselves. You got a lot of players that have gotten paid a lot of money. They say you are supposed to act like a champion before you become a champion, but I don't think that's exactly what they mean. as far as not being locked in and focused and caring more about your fashion and the boom box and all this other silly stuff that doesn't really make any difference whatsoever. So for that, I 100% agree. It's funny that because Debo blocked me on X
What'd you
because
say to him?
I just shared that thing from TO about him caring more about fashion than about football. I don't think he liked that
But did
very
you tag
much.
him though? I mean, how would he know that you
Absolutely, I
shared it?
tagged him.
Oh, there you go. You
Absolutely,
tagged
I
him.
tagged him.
Yeah.
'Cause
What'd
I'm
you
a
say though?
That's exactly what I said. I just added him. It was like Debo, and it linked him to the quote, and that's all. So I guess he didn't like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been paying attention to Purdy's quote unquote situation right now with his health. They asked Dr. Nirav Pandya about the situation, and he says with shoulder problems, they could turn into a big issue. He says, but the fact that he's been trying to throw and not having a ton of issue with it maybe is a good sign that the 49ers aren't hiding a bigger injury than they like they did with the previous injury to Christian McCaffrey. Any thoughts on that? Would you shut him down if he has any issues whatsoever and just wait for next year?
If it's really bad, yeah, I would shut him down. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know how injuries work. But yeah, I mean, some people are like, oh, why isn't Brock playing? Shanahan's destroying his career. It's like, dude, if you're not hurt, if you're not healthy to be out there, you never force it, especially as your franchise quarterback. That would be stupid as hell to put him out there. And then all of a sudden he gets hurt and then everything becomes way worse. So I'm perfectly, it sucked. I obviously wanted to see him play, but I can look at the bigger picture at the same time. But sure, if it gets bad and they're really scared and they're worried that he might mess it up big time even more, they probably would put him on the shelf. I don't know. I have no idea how bad his injury is. They said he had some light practice today, right, with light throwing. So
yep.
Whatever that means, I don't know what their version of light is. So who knows? Yeah.
They say that Brandon Allen will remain the starter if things go according.
That,
yeah, if things go according to how they were last week, which is just, to me, I guess my issue is, did the players know going into Green Bay who their quarterback was going to be and why the effort was just so poor, why the tackling was just so poor? I mean, this defense, regardless of who's on the field, has regressed so much, especially in how they attack the run game, the tackling. I mean, 19 missed tackles. Fred Warner had 4 of them. You listen to these press conferences after the game, Bashar, and you hear players talk, and they always say the same old thing. We can't think about what just happened. We got to look forward to the next game. And to me, it's like, geez, dude, maybe you should concentrate a little bit more on the game that you just played and maybe learn something from it, because this whole notion that you just got to put it behind you and look forward to the next game, and then the next game happens and the same thing happens, and you keep saying the same thing in the press conference, to me, it's aggravating. You wonder, especially with a guy like Fred Warner, who's always a consummate professional, if he is just completely mentally and physically and spiritually tapped out on this year. Because to me, he's just like a robot up there when they give those press conferences at the end of games, and his play on the field is completely opposite of what he says on a weekly basis. So I don't know, man. I just to go in there and give that kind of defensive performance and that lack of, no swarming to the ball. That was the worst effort I've seen them give in the 7 years that Kyle and John have been here, and this predates when we became good, and we're talking like the 2017-2018 season. That we set ourselves back in that game with how poor we played. It was never a contest. It was never close. People are like, oh, we made it close at halftime. We didn't make anything close. Are you kidding me? As soon as the Packers got the ball, went back on the field, they scored every single time. So I don't know. The effort to me looks like a team that is completely mentally checked out.
Yeah, I don't know. Blame the DC. I don't know. The defense, the run stoppage has been pretty good at times during the season. Sometimes it's been iffy. It was never that bad at any point this season, last season, or previous seasons. Though again, the only season I could compare that effort, that display performance, was again the Chip Kelly year, and that was about it. So, I don't know. Just they do need to move on though. I would even, I obviously D line coach. Why am I forgetting his name? Big tall dude. I met him actually. Trying to remember his name. Chris Kocurek. Yeah, I mean, he was probably screaming his head off to them in the film room. Trust me, these coaches. That's because what goes on behind the scenes is completely different than what everybody sees in front of the microphones. Trust me at that. You know, these
That's what the Macho Man said. What goes on behind the screen is way more inciting than what goes on in front of the video scope.
When millions of dollars are being signed away on these paychecks, the player, if somebody eats shit on the field repeatedly, and if multiple players do, the film room is going to be the most dreadful place that week. It really will be. So, yeah, I'm sure they all got chewed out for that, and rightfully so.
Me, Sentinel, you're reading my mind. He said Fred Warner's got to make sure his podcast is lit before retiring. You got Juice's girl and her bullshit jackets. Debo got a podcast. Kittle got a podcast. Everybody on YouTube. Everyone. Yeah.
I'm talking about the podcast on Monday. I was laughing at that.
Like, what are we focused on? Does anybody care anymore? Like, how are you? How could you be this bad this year and be? You show up. You don't show up on Sunday on the field to play. At least you might be there physically, but you weren't there emotionally, spiritually, and all that. But yet your podcast goes on without a hitch every single week. And you watch Debo's body language and you watch Fred Warner's body language, and I've never seen two people more disengaged, like completely just on a different planet. And then you watch what goes on the field and you're like, okay, that makes perfect sense, because they're just, I don't know, man. That Super Bowl last year really did a number on this squad, and it's just like, what's the sense? What's the purpose of putting forth all this effort if we're just going to go lose it again? Because that's the kind of vibe I'm getting when I see these guys talk. You know what I mean? They say all the right things in the press conferences, but what that goes on the field and just the body language and the vibe they give off is totally different.
Well, I'm not gonna go that far, but I don't think any NFL fan has sat at their computer, their TV, YouTube, or whatever, and been like, "Oh, wow, I can't wait! I'm so excited to see what Debo is gonna do on the podcast this week," or Fred Warner with his wife, and nobody watches these podcasts. I was just trying to pull up Debo Samuel's podcast. I guess some people do watch it. More people watch it than I think. I pulled up the views. Surprisingly, they do. I don't know how. I've seen clips of all these. I'm talking about players across the board in the NFL. I'm not just ragging on Niner players.
Yeah, what's his name? Micah Parsons has one. He's having a bad year.
What's entertaining about this? I don't understand this phenomenon. I'm a Warriors fan. Like, I'm not sure if Draymond Green's still doing it. I know one season he was doing it, and it looked so stupid because he's sitting in front of the camera and he would be holding a microphone the whole time. And it would just be like, it would totally be zoomed in on him. It didn't even look like a podcast. It just looked funny, but I'm not sure if he's still doing that or not. I know he did it at least 2 seasons ago.
And you remember the Eric Armstead podcast was the best. He literally is just like, the whole time.
Nothing. And certain players, I like their personality. Like, for example, George Kittle, he's a great personality. Some players have excellent personalities and they're great personalities. But again, we as NFL fans only want to see them on the field until they're retired, or maybe it's the off season and George Kittle's doing some funny wrestling, cameo appearance or whatever. We don't want to see. We're buying these jerseys. We're paying all this money for these hats and these jackets and whatever, and pay all this money to get inside the games because these guys are supposed to be badass players, and they're not supposed to be sitting behind the mics during the season and doing podcasts all over again. It's like, dude, let everybody else do that. Let's guys like Stephen A. Smith or whoever else on.
Yeah, because we all love seeing Fred Warner sit in his car in the dark talking football. I mean,
is that what he does? He sits in his car.
Oh yeah, that's one of them. I know. Sentinel knows what I'm talking about. There's clips of like him sitting in his car in the dark. How Fred, he just got that I
just remember seeing him sit with his wife in like a setup, actual podcast setup with his wife, but I forgot what it was called. Was it called Fred's House or something? Fred Warner's actually really nice.
The Warner
guy.
family, I think.
Yeah, I met him. I mean, he's super, super nice. I'm not trying to rag on him as a person at all.
I'm not. There's certain players that can do whatever they want because they put effort on the field.
But I'm just saying though, as 49er fans, who's really, really watching the podcast to watch the podcast? We're watching these guys on the field. That's all I'm saying.
He says, I just know the ones with his wife. It's all colorful. Yeah, it's super colorful. And Nathan Banks says, yep, Fred's been doing that lately. Yeah, it just seems like everything is the focus except for what's going on the football field. Issues. Your issues with Debo not taking accountability on Sunday. What was your thoughts on that whole situation? We touched on it a little
he
bit.
skipped out of the presser, right?
Yeah, he didn't want to talk to the media after. During the week, he was asked something about the offense or whatever, and he's like, I don't know, and he just completely like blew off whoever was talking. Now, if it's Grant Cohn that he's blowing off and being a jerk to, that's one thing. Then we understand, because I mean the guy's a complete toolbox. But other than that, like, I mean, you are on national television mushing your punter, right? Because he had an issue with you telling your kicker to lock in, right? Rightfully so. Someone needed to do it. But then you've been playing poorly lately. You have 2 balls go through your hands. You've been non-existent a majority of the season, other than a couple of games. And you get pressed by the media, and they want to talk to you, and you have nothing to say, and you don't talk to the media. I don't know, man. To me, that's he's a chicken shit. He's a somebody called him. What was the thing somebody called him? They call him a front runner. He acts like a front runner. When everything's going great and everything's going good, everybody wants to talk to the media. And now that they're struggling and the media wants answers and people want to know what's going on and what the problems are and why the 49ers look so drastically different from last year, you have nothing to say.
I mean, as far as the media goes, I mean, and players getting pressed on certain questions or whatever, I mean, other than Grant dropping a stupid, dumb question, and I think Grant mainly just does this to Kyle more so than the players, but maybe he has dropped some dumb questions to the players too as of late. I just don't follow Grant as closely as everybody else does. But other than Grant, though, Grant's the only guy I could really think of that would ask a question that would raise Debo's eyebrows and piss him off. I mean, pretty sure everybody, all the other reporters in 49er land would just ask normal questions. So it's like, bro, get paid all this money to play as a 49er player. You're always in the spotlight. Again, you're checking our kicker and our long snapper. You're trying to punch them, and then you're a captain, and then you step up to the plate, step up to the mic, do face the music. Come on, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure your expectations could have been low, going to the game because Purdy wasn't playing. But either way, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I was trying to pull up a funny Instagram video of somebody going on a rant about this, and I'm on the dude's account, and I did not see this video for whatever reason. I know who the guy is that posted it, and I was hoping to share this really funny video where he was just ragging on Debo. It was so funny, but I don't know why. Maybe it's here. Maybe it's here. Is this it? No, that's not it. But yeah, I mean, I hate to beat the rag on Debo show, but he's letting on Niner fans down. Probably let some of his teammates down. He's just, you talk about, you think the team has a different attitude or whatever. I don't think the whole team does. But if I want to point out a particular player, the one player that stands out the most is Debo. I mean, so yeah. You know what's funny about Debo though? People say he's slow. Every now and then he'll have those bursts where he looks like the old Debo, right? I mean, on that kick return, which obviously I saw it, and that was the most ticky-tacky holding call I've seen on a huge, gigantic play in a long time. I even saw some stupid holding calls where like the guy has the ball here, and then the guy who gets penalized is like 5,000 feet away, like nowhere near the play, and they throw a holding. Like these refs were just calling the most idiotic penalties at times on like big plays where we could have turned the tables and done something, even with our weak backup quarterback and our spotty run defense. There was a time when we were just owning them yardage wise in the third quarter. Again, if Purdy plays, we win. There's no way we lose because Jordan Love wasn't doing much against us. The only
Jordan
bad
Love
spot
was
the damn run defense. The only bad spot was the damn run defense.
Yeah, because I thought the pass defense, you're right. They, Bernardo Greedy was getting beat a little bit, but then I think he also kind of did well for himself later on in the game. Raj just actually posted Debo's response to the notion that he should get his captain patch stripped away from him. Let's see.
Who said that to him?
I don't know. It's just on RSF 49ers page. Let's
see
if I can.
Sure.
Let me share the screen here. I can play the video. Tell me if you can hear this.
You gotta hit add to stage. You gotta hit share. Hit add to stage on the bottom of the screen, on the thing, on the window. You're not playing it. There you go. Oops. And after you play this, I have another question for you because you shared somebody's audio, and I wasn't sure who was talking on the Monday show. We don't hear nothing though.
Give me a second. I'm
Okay.
There's conversations about people
You hear
feeling
it?
like you're not a leader this
Yeah.
year. You need the C taken off of your chest. What's your response to that?
I don't know. It's kind of crazy because at the end of the day, we hold each other, as in my teammates and myself and Kyle and John and Jed and the other owners, the part of the team. We hold ourselves to a higher standard than what people hold us to. So at the end of the day, a lot of people kind of reflect to, taking the C off my chest because of, me having that altercation with my long snapper. But at the end of the day, I went to my kicker and told him that he needed to lock in and, we needed him to win this game. And it turned into something that it should have never been. But at the end of the day, like, it shouldn't have never led to that for sure. But at the end of the day, if in order for me to have the C on my chest, it's not, I don't think it's too much of a coach's decision. The people above Cal, I think it's a player voted thing because we do that as a group. So if my peers and everybody around me feel like that I deserve to have a C on my chest, then I'm wear it with pride. And I take pride in that for sure. And at the end of the day, like I stated, I control the things I control. It's been a little frustrating for sure, but at the end of the day, like, I'm gonna still go out here. I'm gonna do my job, and when the opportunity presents itself, I'm there.
Yeah. Okay. You're there. All right. Oh boy.
We just gave his podcast some love by showing that's
Right.
the most I've watched of his podcast. Actually, that's the longest clip from his podcast
My God.
that I watched. Man,
He looks so energetic and motivated. I don't know about
but
you.
I'll be honest. And correct me if I'm wrong. I can't recall anybody's captain privileges being stripped of though on any team. If it's happened in the NFL, let me know.
Let's get that. I'm trying to figure out what this video is that I have down here that I wanted to share. So I'm just going to share it because I'm sure it's imperative to what we're talking about right now.
And I got a question for you in regards to something you shared on Monday. So go ahead.
Okay.
San Francisco is like an old boxer. Last year, hanging on, had one last good fight, stopped drafting receivers, rebuild the O-lines and D-lines. Bosa's hurt, Kittle's hurt, McCaffrey's hurt. I think San Francisco has to hyper-aggressively reboot the franchise.
Well, it's tough when you're paying all these guys all this money. I think the best thing that could happen to them, because they're not making the playoffs, keep losing these games. If you're the 49ers, you want to be drafting 7th, not 15th, right? Because we know quarterbacks usually go, and that gives you an opportunity to get one of the best players on the board. So, I mean, I think you're looking at best a 7-win team. And I think right now, not winning maybe one more game the rest of the season.
We did talk about that, didn't we?
Who did you shared somebody's audio? I don't remember. I don't even think it was a video. It was you were on yesterday with Al and your friend, and you played somebody's audio of him going on a rant about the 49ers, and I thought it might have been Dieter Kurtenbach. I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, it was Dieter Kurtenbach talking about the stripping of the captain patch. A lot of people
he was the one who
didn't
brought
agree.
that up. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like Dieter's take. They thought it was a stupid take. Listen, a lot of these takes are coming from a highly, highly stressed out and pissed off 49er fan base right now. The more and more you kind of look at that one, you could probably say, listen, he's given a lot to this organization. He's put his body on the line. He got paid for it. Maybe he just doesn't have it anymore. And when you look at it like that, maybe that's a little bit more of a level-headed response. But just based on the effort that he's put forth this season, his lack of accountability after the game, yeah, I think your first reaction, even my first reaction, was like, yeah, strip that thing off of him. He doesn't deserve that. But he says it's a player voted thing. It's not a coach voted thing. I'm sure they talked about it. The 49ers addressed it. So he's not losing his captain patch, guys, even if we wanted to. So there's that.
Yeah, but I'd say Dieter Kurtenbach's pretty good. It's been a while. It's been a long time, been weeks since I've listened to him. But I should listen to him more because everything I have heard from him is pretty spot on. He definitely knows his football. So if anybody's mad at him for that, I mean, you could disagree with him on that take, but in general, he's really, really good.
That's a nice picture, Red Jet. Got you and Fred Warner. She said Tyshawn Samuel needs to stop dressing like America's Next Top Model
Oh, dude,
and get
that
back to
outfit was
Samurai
terrible.
Samuel. Yes, I said it. Get it.
Yeah.
Girl.
So the she went to this Fred Warner meet and greet in the East Bay, and I was asking her like, what was the price of admission? And she said, "Oh, it was actually it was it was more like a food drive where you just had to bring some non-perishable food items, and then you got to meet Fred Warner. So there were tons of people there, but that's a great cause, and whoever came up with that idea is awesome, and I'm glad Fred Warner was a part of it, and I'm glad he was so cordial with all his fans. So shout out to Fred."
Here I got I wanted to actually put this up on the screen too. This was what I was talking about earlier about the 49ers going through a similar thing that the Philadelphia Eagles went through last year and how they can make their way back. So I'm going to see if I can put this up on screen. I mean, this is okay. Well, you know what? I'll just read it. It says the 49ers can be the 2023-2024 Eagles, where they fell off and came right back. It's about coaching decisions, coaching hires, core players finding their fire again, and hitting in the draft again this year. If not, the window is not going to open back up again for years. I think that's a fair assessment, Bashar.
Yeah, I mean the Eagles, right? I saw them have some pretty good seasons and then fall off and be weak and bounce back, and they won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles out of all people. So if they won with Nick Foles, we can win with Brock Purdy somewhere down the road. That's why my optimism is there. Brock Purdy is our quarterback, but we need to draft for O-line, and then after you draft for O-line, then draft some D tackles. If you got to sign a few, go ahead, or sign some offensive linemen. Either way, you have to address the position. Trenches are super, super important. Our quarterbacks get banged up. It's been a thing in the Shanahan era, and it's been a thing for any Niner season where we had a subpar O-line. It's happened to a lot of our quarterbacks in the history of the 49ers. So it's just clear as day, man. And on top of that, look where our running game has gone, man. And we need to get our running game back on track. And O-line plays a big part in that too. So it's just, trenches are super, super important. When you disregard the trenches, then some bad things are becoming your way. But they have an opportunity to do it. I'm not saying 100% they will, but I feel good about it because Purdy's our quarterback. We have a pretty decent draft this year. We put together another good draft and another good draft. We could jump right back into it. Health is very, very important. The right coaches, some people want to fire Kyle. I'm not going to go that far. And again, even if I was to go that far, is it going to happen? No, it's not going to happen. Kyle and John got some crazy extensions. But hey, Nick Sorensen isn't looking too good. Can Kyle hire a damn OC? If that's what he needs to do to get this team over the hump, then do it. So I mean, you were telling me before the stream that about people suggesting things and not having solutions. If you want to touch that, go ahead.
Before I hit that, I wanted to hit something that Al from 49ers Plus podcast, he got into a little conversation on Twitter or X about quarterbacks that Grant Cohn and his clique mentioned could be someone that the 49ers could bring into this franchise. And they brought up the names Daniel Jones, Jameis Winston, and Drew Lock.
Even funnier.
Are better solutions than Brock Purdy. And it's just, man, everybody has a right to have a podcast or a YouTube channel, man, but that's just a weak ass hater take. I don't know. What's your thought on that one?
I had to mute myself and I held it in like crazy. I really wanted to laugh as if I was in the front row of an Eddie Murphy stand-up comedy show. That's how funny I thought that take was. I mean, it's like it was bad. It was already bad. It was already bad in the beginning, but then he decides to up the ante and drop more names, Jameis Winston and Drew Lock. Like, dude, this is like a free comedy show. Let's do this, man. Like, whoa, Showtime at the Apollo, Uptown Comedy Club, Def Comedy Jam. Like, come on now. What do we? Brock Purdy's our mother effing quarterback, dude. We're not in the market for a damn quarterback.
Jameis Winston.
What, so he could sit back there and throw 40 touchdowns and 50 interceptions. Is that what you want?
That's exactly.
That's what he does. He's an interception machine, dude. Like, dude, these guys are like Brock Purdy is the guy like making plays for us and keeping this team afloat. He's a big reason why we're only one game behind in our damn division. And hey, he's definitely not the problem with this team. 100% not.
He said he'd rather have Baker Mayfield over Brock. I mean, listen, people.
And he just wants us to suck. That's why he wants to give whoever the weakest quarterback in the league is, and Grant wants him to be our quarterback. That's what he wants. He wants the weakest coach on the Niners. He wants the weakest offensive lineman. Anything who's the weakest in the league, that's what Grant wants for this team.
Well, but then he's got people in his ear. You know, he's got his bald friend and he's got his MMA guy with the beard, Jesse, who they all talk. They parrot him. They all say the same thing. All of their content is exactly the same type of divisive, negative stuff. Now, this year they have a right to be negative because the Niners freaking suck. Okay, but this has been going on through this whole Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch era, especially the last couple of years. That no matter how good the 49ers are doing, you can go to somebody's YouTube channel and you're always going to find the negative take, the overly serious take, the hypercritical take. Again, this year is a whole other thing. If you want to be negative about the 49ers and bash them, go right ahead. But this is something that's been going on. And I'm not surprised that he would find the 3 worst quarterbacks to be a replacement for Brock Purdy. And I'm sure Hensley and I'm sure Naylor probably agree with him on that one. I'm almost positive. So there's that.
You announcing that is a good reason why. I mean, there's only a few things. I read Twitter, I follow it, but I didn't dive deep in it like I have.
I didn't do it. I got it from my guy Al because me and my buddy Al are New Yorkers and we go at people.
I like Al. Al's really good. Al's a lot of fun. But yeah, that's why I'm not like heavy into Twitter like I used to be. Just to save myself from running across retarded quotes and tweets like that. It's just I like. Otherwise, I'd jump in the comments and argue with like 50 other people, and it's like pointless.
Oh, this is low hanging fruit right here. Don't even get me started, dude.
What?
They have a girl who they all stream with who has a naked OnlyFans, who are all married men.
Well, who's saying that? Oh, Nathan.
And they're all collaborating and all having a jolly old time with a chick that gets naked for money on her OnlyFans. And yet I'm supposed to take her takes about the 49ers seriously. I mean, are you kidding me? But that's just me. Maybe I'm the problem. Okay. Maybe it's her life and what she wants to do is her prerogative or whatever. But, oy.
Yeah. Danny, I was just thinking about how people want Danny Jones to save this franchise and not.
Oh, let's
who was that in the chat?
Let's analyze that.
Who was that guy in the chat yesterday? He got so mad that me and other people said Danny Jones sucks. I've only seen the guy play in real life and do absolutely nothing.
Well, there was a guy in the chat that just would not give Brock Purdy any prop. You can say that he's not an elite quarterback. I don't think Brock Purdy's elite either. I think there's only 4 of them in the league, and the rest of them are all serviceable starters. To me, Brock Purdy is a pretty good starting quarterback in the NFL, probably a top 10. And this notion that Daniel Jones can get reinvented by Kyle Shanahan with this kind of offense when he could barely figure out what he was doing in New York, that coaching staff, get lost. Please just get lost.
Yeah. I can't. I know Daniel Jones has some speed per se, but he hasn't shown me that he hasn't shown me he's a scrambler that Brock Purdy is. Let's be real. He's obviously not what Mahomes is when it comes to scrambling Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. I never dare to put him in that category, regardless of what 40 time he ran. He ran a great 40 time from what I hear. I forgot what it was exactly, but 40 times aside, he's not the scrambler that Brock Purdy is. He's not. And then I can't think of one trait that Danny Jones has brought. I don't care about his measurables. I can't think of one trait that I've seen.
All they care about
in a damn game, in any game that Daniel Jones has, where I was like, wow. A really good team like the 49ers or any other good team like the Chiefs, fill in the blanks, can do wonders with this guy. And again, I saw him play in real life. I've turned on the TV and I've seen him. And then for somebody to get mad at me for saying he sucks, he got cut. He just got cut. He's a high draft pick that got cut.
He was demoted.
He doesn't have what Brock Purdy has. Then they draft that Malik Neighbors guy who was supposed to be some dope receiver coming out of college. Like,
it's amazing it's amazing that ever since Brock has been here, all they've been doing is trying to replace him. And all they keep doing is going to really bad quarterbacks who just happen to be really tall and can throw the ball hard, but have no mind or mentals for the game as far as being a quick process or accurate thrower or somebody that can, take this offense, digest it, and be able to actually be a productive NFL quarterback. It's amazing. That just tells me how much people don't know about football, or about how desperate people are to just get rid of Brock Purdy because he doesn't look the part, or he doesn't dress the part, or he doesn't just give off a vibe of an NFL starting quarterback. He looks like a guy who works at an Abercrombie and Fitch store, but that's okay. I don't really care about that as long as he wins. Apparently that's not enough.
He runs really fast. He throws the ball really far. That's like, it seems like the only thing people care about.
That was the whole Trey Lance thing. It was like Trey Lance couldn't read the field. He was a slow processor. He was inaccurate in the short game. All the stuff that Brock does really well, but people were blinded by the fact that he was a big guy with a big arm. And we thought he was a running quarterback, but then we saw what Trey Lance, he really wasn't. I think Brock is a better scrambler at his little stature than Trey Lance was at 6'4". Listen, me and you were both Trey Lance guys when he was drafted. We were both like, oh my God, they got themselves the next generation type quarterback. Like they're moving into the 2020s like everybody else. They're getting a dual threat guy. And then a guy who, for all intents and purposes, wasn't even supposed to make this roster, if you want to think about it, being a 7th round pick, and yet he's in the MVP conversation last year, and everybody's forgotten about that, and they want to replace him. And the guys that they picked to replace him are Daniel Jones, Jameson Winston, and what's the other guy? I can't even remember the Drew Lock was the other one. I mean,
that was I can't believe that really actually happened in real life, that somebody made that argument and had that take. That's too, like I said, I wanted to laugh so much, but you were talking, and I was like, okay, I'll wait till he's done, then I'll try to laugh again. But I was just thinking about the Dallas Cowboys because you mentioned Trey Lance. Did you guys see that crazy ending of that game, by the way, against the Commanders? That was pretty nuts, though, wasn't it?
It was pretty insane.
Yeah, and for those who say that there are some Niner fans, I hate to bring this up, but there's some Niner fans till this day are still pouting and are still mad. As much as I wanted Trey Lance to play, they wanted the Trey Lance to play a million times more than I did, apparently, because they're still crying and whining that he's not our starting quarterback, and they think Brock Purdy's garbage and he's trash, and Trey Lance should be playing well. I mean, but when Trey Lance stepped on the field this year, I literally sat on my TV, sat on my couch. I was driving. I went somewhere, came home, and I turned on the TV. The first play, I literally see in front of my eyes is Trey Lance dropping back to pass, throwing deep, and it gets picked off. And then I saw him miss on some other throws after that. And Cooper Rush has been playing ahead of him the whole time. I'm not trying to make the Trey Lance bash show, but I'm just saying, like, he's behind Cooper Rush. I mean, and Cooper Rush won this last game. It's like, to say that Purdy isn't better than Lance is retarded, dude. I'm sorry.
We got a Seahawks fan in here who's thanking us for the division this year. Are you really that proud to take a division against a beaten team?
It's only a one team. It's still anybody's ball game at that division, though. So we're only one game back, so it's like there's nothing to really celebrate. I get excited about.
This is a pathetic division this year. I don't know how proud I would be to win the NFC West.
I mean, I said it earlier. If we sneak in,
you're a round one elimination.
If
you're
we
going to go into the wild card team and get eliminated immediately.
Again, if we sneak in, there's a good chance we could be one and done, unless Brock Purdy somehow gets that magic going and the team going like we did in past playoff runs. But we have a lot of, it's been a down year with injuries and all this other crap going on with this team. But again, yeah, I mean, you want to celebrate the division this year, go right ahead. What was that one year when it was Singletary was a coach and the Seahawks had a terrible record and they acted like they did something when they went to the playoffs? So you're more than welcome to celebrate that. So
yep. I wanted to hit you with this one because this is something that somebody mentioned. I can't get it out of my head. Comments in the peanut gallery if you want, but I think there's any chance that Kyle freaking steps down after this year because of being burnt out?
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but I'd be shocked if it happened, to be honest with you. I mean, yeah, it would really, really shock me. Like, damn, really? All that money that he's got thrown at him, and with I know he has it where he wants to win a Super Bowl and prove everybody wrong. I don't think he's a quitter, dude. I just don't. Unless he really, really gets forced out, he'd have to really get forced out by ownership or whatever. They'd have to tell him to F off. But
do you think him and John Lynch are in here until they at least get us one Super Bowl?
I think so. I think that's the ultimate goal, and they'll try
Isn't
to
that
find
what
a way
you
to
want,
get it
though?
done.
That's why a lot of people who think that's why a lot of people who think this team is just going to go in to be an also ran. They might be bad this year, but they got a lot of injuries and a lot of guys not playing. Like, as long as John and Kyle are here, I just don't think the Niners, at least when those two guys are here, they're going to allow them to be a talentless, toothless team. They're going to find a way to rejuvenate this team, whether it's through the draft or free agency. Al made a good point, about people who don't know anything about the salary cap. The Niners got $50 million. They're like $50 million over the salary cap right now this year, which essentially probably will get rolled over into next year. Yeah, they got a lot of salary cap casualties that might happen. Javarius Ward, Aaron Banks, guys like that. Hufanga, I would let him go. I think Hufanga, unfortunately, lost his job out to Jair Brown, and I still think Jair Brown, he's okay, but he's not great. I think Malik Mustafa is a really, really good, young, promising player. You look at the Niners secondary, they're not that bad. Diamador Lenore and Renardo Green are not bad corners. I think Renardo Green is only going to get better. Did he have a tough game in Green Bay? Yeah, but Green Bay's got a ton of really good receivers.
He was blanketing that one guy, and for whatever dumb reason, he threw his hand on the back of that player, and it was like thrown to the end zone. That would have been spectacular coverage had he not put his hand where it should have been, and then he wouldn't have gotten flagged for it. But just little rookie mistakes here and there are stopping from Renardo Green looking like a Pro Bowl corner, in my opinion. I'm talking this season with a minimal pass rush.
Interesting interesting comment. Pterodome, he said, I've seen the 10-0 teams lose 6 in a row, and I've seen the 6-6 teams win the ring. Keep playing, keep believing. You are way more positive than I am, my man.
Look, I was at the game when the freaking New York Giants lost at Candlestick to who they lose to. I mean, they lost to the Niners, obviously, but it was when Eli Manning was the quarterback and Alex Smith was our quarterback, and everybody was excited that the Niners won that game. And this is a New York Giants team that lost 6 games in a row. They had a 6-game losing streak. And somehow I'm back at Candlestick later on in that season at a playoff game, thinking we're beating this team, and then Kyle Williams fumbles the ball away to them, and they win the Super Bowl. So crazy things have happened in this league. Maybe we'll have something on our side. Who knows? Yeah. So whatever. Wait,
says, as if this is a trap game for the Bills, I'm just going to roll over laughing my ass off, dude. Guys, I'm not saying it's impossible for them to win this game, but I think it's impossible for them to win this game. Not if Brock Purdy's not playing. I hate to say it.
Dude, the weather too, man. It's gonna be a crazy snowstorm unless there's some divine intervention about the weather. But yeah, I really, this game's gonna be a tough one. That's why I really wanted to see Brock in Green Bay. Jordan Love was not beating us in that game. He was not the guy beating us.
I thought the 49ers defense, if they could have somehow figured out a way to stop the run, could have kept themselves in that game. But like a lot this season, everything is a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda, but they haven't done it.
Yeah, so. There's been a million times we shot ourselves in the foot this season. So this Brandon guy's having a lot of fun in the chat, tagging our names, and he's just some big Seahawks fan, I guess. So
that's okay.
That's cool.
It's all right. Still, whatever. Real quick, I think 2 things that we can both say with a confidence that the Niners need to address going into this offseason will be special teams coach and defensive coordinator. Those have to be 2 of the biggest big pieces of low-hanging fruit, right? For the 49ers to make that change. I mean, nothing short of a blow to the head by Kyle Shanahan.
In the mirror. Just kidding. I'm losing it, dude.
Yeah, I'm losing it too. So no, I mean, Dick Sorensen has been nothing short of an absolute disappointment. And Mr. Schneider on special teams. I mean, it's the worst special teams in the league by far.
Yeah,
there's no way in hell. There's no way in hell we're gonna biff that one up and have both of them come back next year, are we?
Yeah, dude. The Sorensen guy just looks like a damn like surfer. I just see some surfer guy on the sideline that looks like he's never coached in his life, there's nothing fiery. When you think defensive coordinator, you think somebody, not every single time he has to be a rah-rah type of guy, but every now and then, he's got to have some fire hit him. That's how defensive coaches work. But yeah, obviously he's not that guy, and his results are very lackluster, so to speak. I'm being nice when I say that. And yeah, is Matt Eberflus going to get fired in Chicago? Maybe we can make him our DC. I don't know, man. A lot of people are hoping that Robert Saleh would come back, and then Robert Saleh went to his buddy over in Green Bay, so which kind of sucked. I don't know. I guess I don't know what he's going to be doing over there. He's going to stick around long term over there, or maybe he'll leave Green Bay to coach for us again. Who knows what's going to happen, man? But we
Right.
definitely need to replace that guy. Some people were assuming that Brandon Staley might get promoted. I mean, I don't know,
Wouldn't be surprised with Kyle Shanahan.
because I hear they're really good friends.
The one thing Grant Cohn said about Kyle that is true is that Kyle, if you challenge him, will do the opposite of what you want him to do. So if you tell Kyle he needs to get rid of both his special teams and his defensive coordinator, he might just stick with both of them and say, well, we had a ton of injuries on defense, so we never got a chance to really have a full roster for Nick Sorensen to work with. And trust me, that is something that Kyle would do. Special teams, Kyle, when he asked about it this year, he said there's nothing really more that Niners can do to invest time in the special teams, and that it really comes to just players and people being in and out of the lineup. So Kyle has every excuse in his arsenal to why he might stick with both of those guys, and we'll be pulling our hair out. The last bit thing, and then we'll get out of here because I'm actually pretty tired. The last thing I want to hit on with you, Bash, we've been kind of all over the place in this stream, and I kind of figured that's how it would be because it's like whatever, right?
We're all over this place as a team, right? All over the place.
Christian McCaffrey and Ricky Pearsall both kind of having really kind of slow games, not really producing much. I don't want to read much into Ricky Pearsall right now. I want to see what he looks like after training camp and an off season coming into next season. And the same thing with Christian McCaffrey. Personally, it's hard for me to really be pissed off at him when he's missed the whole season and just is starting to play and getting his legs back under him. Do you agree on both of those, or how do you feel about it?
It sucks with CMC because he had to go. He went to Germany, and I still don't even know how in the hell he got injured. It was some weird offset. I guess he was working out and he got injured. I don't know. We all know what happened to Ricky Pearsall, all the injuries that he had, and then he gets shot. He gets shot and almost murdered on top of that. So
right.
Him getting that big touchdown was like a major breath of fresh air. Like, oh wow, that was so cool to see Ricky Pearsall. Let's say he had 2 games where he looked pretty good, right? Where he was moving the chains, moving the sticks. I don't know. I mean, did they even try to throw his way this game? I told you I was watching this game with a lot of relatives.
He's had 2 games where he's had no catches.
Yeah, I was watching the game with a lot of relatives at the house, and it was pretty noisy, so I didn't really get the focus like I normally do. And I didn't see him get targeted, but I thought maybe I missed something. Yeah, so I'm not going to be too hard on Ricky Pearsall. Sure, I want to see more from him, but then again, you can only catch the ball if it's thrown to you. So I'm assuming I don't know if he was getting open. I saw him a couple times get some separation. Yeah, but I'm not going to be too hard on the guy. He's still a rookie. He went through a lot so far. CMC again, he kind of gets a pass, right? I think he's still getting his feet wet after all this time off. Well, first he missed tons of time. And he's got that just to be normal from that injury. I don't think he's 100% just yet. I think he's probably 90%, maybe 85%. I don't know, but eventually he'll be 100%. Maybe it'll be too late by then. Same with this whole Dre Greenlaw thing. I mean, by the time Dre Greenlaw gets in football shape and gets ready to go, who knows? Maybe we want to lose a few more games, and we're
if
completely
the Niners
out.
are mathematically,
and then when we're completely out, that Seahawks fan can come off in the chat and celebrate and act like he won something with us having a crazy down year. And
good luck being in Detroit, guys.
I'll say this, man. I have a lot of relatives and friends from Detroit, and they, so far from what I've seen, they look excellent so far. Now, it is the Detroit Lions. I'm not going to say I'm going to put all the money. I'm not saying go to Vegas and spend all your money on them and ride on them winning the Super Bowl. But I wouldn't go that far. But they look, so far so good. They look very impressive. I'll say that.
Yep. Yeah, it's This has been a tough year. There's a lot of decisions that are going to be made after the season. Everybody's overreacting, including myself. I don't know what way to feel about a lot of things right now. I don't know if I should panic and think that the Niners are, never going to be good again, or do I have to have the mindset that they just need to regroup, reboot, come back next year refreshed, ready to go, healthy, and all that stuff. I'm kind of teetering on both of them. I'm right in the middle of that. And like you said, as far as like Christian McCaffrey, Pearsall, even a guy like Greenlaw, I mean, like if they have no chance, man, shut that stuff down and come back next year ready to go. I still think Christian McCaffrey's got stuff in the tank. I definitely think that we've not seen even the slightest bit of anything from Ricky Pearsall yet. He needs, I mean, just what happened to him is nothing short of an amazing that he didn't die from a gunshot wound to the chest. And as far as Greenlaw goes, I mean, he got hurt in February. That's what I kept saying to Al yesterday. He got hurt in February, man. It's not even a full year. I mean, like, really?
Oh yeah,
Come back.
And it's-
Come
it was
back
a-
at
it
the
was a
beginning of
very
next
serious
year.
injury.
Come back at the beginning of next year, ready to go, and then we'll talk. And I think the Niners can make it, right back into the mix of things in the NFC, especially with the West being the way it is all the time, where it's just a freaking hot mess every single year.
Yeah.
I think
Our
the Niners
division
can
is
come
a
back.
hot mess. A lot of the
Yeah.
time. So, yeah. I mean, we came back and we were right in the mix of things with Jimmy G as quarterback. Obviously, the defense was a whole lot better back then, but
Mhm.
with Jimmy G as quarterback, we had multiple times to be the best team in this league. So
Yep.
I like our chances with Brock as quarterback. I just do.
I
You
do
could
too.
say he doesn't deserve all the money you want, then you can just make yourself look stupid. Eventually, he'll prove you guys wrong. So
Yeah, and he's still going to get paid this offseason, so you're going to have
he's
to get
getting
used to it.
paid.
Hot Mess Express, baby. This too shall pass. One of the greatest things I've ever seen. But hey, guys, we're going to get out of here. We'll talk to you guys again next Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Maybe we'll have a show that's a little bit more put together instead of all over the pace. But the way things are going right now, probably not. So we'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Talk to you later. Peace.